I hope everyone had an awesome Christmas, and I hope you got all the car parts you could have ever wanted from whoever you got Christmas gifts from. If not, go buy yourself some Christmas presents. Go get yourself that turbo that you've wanted. So, what is going on, guys? And welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing a plethora of things. I've got some of the valve buckets for the WRX here that we're gonna be getting in there, verifying lash. If the passenger side checks out, we're gonna go ahead and get that sealed up, get the cam gears and everything like that back on. I'm waiting on like 3 more buckets to come in, which should have been here today, but now it says they'll be here tomorrow. For our STI out here, our 04 STI, I got in like a new air intake filter replacement from Cobb. I got in a new in-cabin air filter because the OEM one in there smells like mold, and then a new oil pressure sensor. And then I've got to run some errands later, so who knows what today is going to unfold. But I want to start things off by getting those valve buckets in on that engine real quick and verifying lash, so that way I can get those off the bench and make sure we're all good, because if I have to order more for some reason, I'd rather do it now than later. So let's get our EJ pulled out from back here. Let me get these valve buckets in real quick and double check all our measurements. If there's one thing I hate doing on Subarus, it's valve lash. It's so dumb. Just make it adjustable. Can somebody out there please invent a way to make adjustable, just make it adjustable somehow, instead of having to play mix and match the buckets all day, all right? I finally have this side. I have enough buckets left. Oh, dude, I have probably 50 or 60 valve buckets at this point. I've got them chilling on like my desk there. I've got this whole box full of them. I've got so many valve buckets, but I never have the sizes I need. Luckily, I was able to get this one side lashed out properly. So the intake side is set to 8 thou plus or minus 1 thou. Exhaust side is set to 10 thou plus or minus 1 thou. So it's in between like 9 and 11 thou, and the intake side's between like 7 and 9 thou. It's in measurement, it's in spec. I'm gonna go through, clean this side of the head, get this side sealed up, and then I'm gonna play with the other side and see if I have the appropriate buckets to make it work. If not, I do have some more that'll get dropped off. But if I can get the valve lash done, I can get this engine back in the car today, which would be fucking sick. It would be sick nasty. So let me get this side sealed up and let's jump over to the other side, see if we can play with that. Once we get that done, we'll pull the blob eye in here, do some stuff to the blob eye, because oil pressure sensor, basic stuff for it. Passenger side all sealed up, all lashed, done with. Now there's a tolerance when it comes to cams. Like with the aftermarket cams like this on the cam card, the intake side should be 8 thou, the exhaust side should be 10 thou. Typically I'll go by a tolerance of plus or minus 1 thou. So right now all of our intake cams right here are in between 7 thou and 9 thou, with 8 thou being right where they need to be. So that's solid. Bottom side it's supposed to be 10, they're between 9 and 11. It works. Like you gotta know when to be like, all right, this is good within a 1 thou tolerance, which is solid. It's absolutely solid. So I want to try to actually get this motor in today. So on this side of the engine, let me pull this pin out right here, push this guy down, flip you around a little bit more. Boop. On this side, we need 1, 2, 3, 4 valve buckets, and then we can go ahead and like finish this side. I actually have this size here, which is a 440 that we need. These bottom 3, I'm gonna see if I can't make something work. So I'm gonna go back and forth like I did before, trying to get valve lash set. If I can get valve lash solid and figured out, we're gonna go ahead and get this side resealed, get the cams permanently in, get the cam gears on, get everything sealed up, get it timed, and put this thing in the car today. I want it off the stand, I want it in the car, I want to be able to do my rotated kit, which shows up in a couple of days, and I'm tired of waiting on valve buckets. I have like 60 of them over there, so if I can't make something work, then we'll figure it out later. So let me play with this a little bit longer, see if I can get this lash done with at least. obviously, as you can tell, I was able to find some valve buckets that did work to get us within range for our for our valve lash. I also got the engine retimed and whatnot. This is something that a lot of people freak out about, and I freaked out about it the first time I went to time an EJ also. You'll see down here that all the timing marks line up perfectly. On that one, you can't see, but it lines up perfectly. Now over here, this is one that a lot of people freak out about. It's not a tooth off. It just looks like it's about half a tooth off. It's totally normal to see it like this. Once you have tension on the belt, it's going to pull these gears a little bit to where it looks like it's about half a tooth off. Don't stress it. It's totally normal. So now that we're all timed up here, this engine's going back in the car in this video. So we need to get the timing covers on, but since we're using a fluid damper, actually Josh mentioned this in I think one of his most recent videos with the fluid dampers. We need to trim off this ring around our timing cover right here. As you guys can see on the old damper, there's a recession in it. There is no recession on the fluid damper, so we just got to cut off this lip that's sticking out. So I'm gonna get that guy cut off. We'll get the timing covers put back on, get our fluid damper put on there, and then at that point our engine is ready to go back in the car with our 6-speed now, and this WRX is gonna make some sauce. I'm actually really excited. So let me get that cut. Let's get these covers on. Let's get this thing back in the car. Well, this video has been going way better than I was expecting it to. I honestly wasn't expecting to get a full long block put together, but you know what, we did. So, I'm gonna get this thing slapped in the car. To get this engine, A, off of this stand, B, out of the way, C, in the car, D, so that way we can start getting everything else put onto it. It's a good looking motor. I'm proud of myself, it looked good. Let's get it slapped in the car. It's dark outside, but I don't care. We're gonna keep going. And my body's telling me, no, Tanner, stop, wait till there's daylight, you'll be able to see more. But my mind is telling me no. Let's put this engine in the hatchback. That could be a Backstreet Boy. What you think? Starting a boy band. Who wants in? All right, good morning, you guys. It's the next day, so we got the engine in. Now we can do so much more stuff. So now that we've got our built motor put in the car, I can finish installing it. That's the first thing I need to do. So I need to finish putting the bell housing bolts in, get the starter in, get the engine mounts torqued down, that basic stuff like that. So I'm gonna run through, knock out that stuff. We can get our AOS put on here, our exhaust manifold and rotated up pipe are out for delivery today. So that is awesome. So let's start getting this engine bay a little more cleaned up, a little more dressed up, and start getting all of our stuff in here, so that way we can figure it out. Our process west manifold should show up tomorrow, so that means we can make even more progress on this baby. I want to see this WRX run. The engine and bell housing bolts all retightened back up. This manifold is just temporary till my process west comes in tomorrow. I'm gonna have to figure out the AOS situation because I know the process west manifold sits a little bit farther back and the AOS sticks out so far. And we also have that intercooler piping that we have to have come up and around. So I might have to get a little bit creative with how I mount the AOS. I'm not gonna stress it right now because it's not like a huge deal right this second, but we're making solid progress for what I can do. I'm waiting on UPS to drop off the manifold nut pipe like I said. Once they're done, I might swing over to the shop later and go tack weld and get the up pipe done with, because it's already mandrel bent and everything like that. So all we have to do is figure out the height of where we want the turbo to sit and then cut it off. But I actually think I have to do that till I also get my manifold, because the manifold can be a determining factor for where the turbo actually sits. I would like to do it so that way the intercooler piping comes out under the manifold and then comes down like this, kind of like it does in like a stock turbo inlet style, but just have the intercooler piping go through there and then have the intake come out through here. I've got this 4-inch tube from Vibrant in there, and we can just cut that down, bead roll it, and get that done. Sweet! What else? I need to find a spot to mount my fuel pressure regulator, so I might actually, yeah, I'm gonna wait to do that too. I'm just gonna wait to do anything else to the engine until I get the intake manifold in. because that's going to be a huge determining factor for where I put shit. But hold up, FedEx is here. So I don't think there's too much else I can do on this right now. So I think I'm gonna jump over to this. So I think I'm gonna jump over to this guy real quick, swap out that oil pressure sensor, air intake filter, and the cabin filter, just to be able to get that small stuff kind of fixed on that. So let's jump over to our 04 STI real quick and knock that stuff out, because that's stuff that I've been meaning to do, because oil pressure is something that you want to be able to monitor and know, especially one where the gauge kind of works sometimes, but it doesn't work other times, so it's a little bit sketchy. So jump into this guy. Is this thing locked? I don't remember if I locked it. Nope, didn't lock it. Get up there. So oil pressure sensor is right down there on the engine. Obviously air intake filters right there. So we'll knock out these two easy ones first, then we'll jump inside the car and do the in-cabin air filter to get that swapped out, because that thing smells so bad. It smells so moldy. All right, cabin air filter swapped out. This one actually wasn't that bad. Like, compared to some of the other cabin air filters that I've had out there, like this one, like, it was dirty, don't get me wrong, but not nearly as dirty as we've seen on some of the other cars. I also swapped the shift knob out to a nice cob knob. The other one was just too, it was too tall for me. Now I have reasonable suspicion to believe that this 04 STI is actually haunted. And there's three things in this world that I don't mess with, whether they're real or not. That's ghosts, demons, and aliens, okay? I don't mess with them. And I found a Ouija board cursor in this car. No, thank you. No, thank you. So now that we've got oil pressure sensor is working, because I did have to scoot the car over a little bit to be able to do the cabin air filter. Now that the cabin air filter's in, new oil pressure sensor's in, new air intake filter's on, I'm going to start the car and I'm going to let it run with the just the fan on for a little while, just to kind of cycle out any of that nasty smelling air with the windows rolled down a little bit. Make sure oil pressure and everything like that's working. When I cold started it, I did see around like 90 psi, which is totally normal for a cold start. So let's let the 04 STI warm up for a little bit, make sure that everything's operating as it should. And oh, I also, it's tradition at this point, I found the mystery wires. There's always mystery wires. I found them. I need a new head unit for this car also, because this one kind of sucks. And that's the thing. Fun fact, if you didn't know, in 2004 STIs, if you got a 04 STI brand new, the radio was an option. You didn't get the radio standard, so you know, we have a radio, so we got that going for us. So sweet, let's go ahead. My C diff switches in backwards. Let's go ahead and let it idle for a little bit. You gonna work? Hey, she works! Dope! Let's just go there, and let's let the fan run. It's gonna let it idle for like 10-15 minutes. Make sure everything's solid. And then I gotta order a front mount and a downpipe for this car. Retune it, we should be solid. Sweet, oil pressure sensor seems to be working now. I need to fix that ABS issue, a brake line ABS are on. It's for the actual ABS module up in the engine bay. So I have that spare one. I'm gonna verify part numbers are the same. If they're the same, I'm just gonna take that one, take this down to Subaru, have them swap it. Because you need something called SSM4 to be able to actuate the valves in the ABS module, to be able to bleed the ABS module so you don't have air in your brake lines, which would not be a good thing. So awesome, less stuff wrong with this. I need to fix the mirrors, because for some reason, the electronic mirrors just don't work on either side, which is weird, so I need to figure that out. Could be a blown fuse, could be a lot of things, honestly. I just don't have the time to dig into it right this second. Sweet! Let's see if UPS showed up with our exhaust manifold and whatnot, because I would like that, very much so. All right, so we're a little bit in the future and we got some goodies. We got a killer Viator. This thing's so good, like, I love these things, man. So I got the DIY rotated kit for that exhaust manifold, and this is our up pipe. So it's already pre-mandrel bent and everything like that, so we can just modify this pipe. Now I did have to buy a pipe stretching tool, because the flange for the turbo is actually 2 1/4 and the up pipe is 2 inch. So if we expand this pipe wherever we cut it up to 2 1/4, that'll allow us to put the turbo wherever we want for just to be able to weld this flange onto that pipe. And then this is the one that goes to the actual Killer Bee exhaust manifold. So let's go ahead and get this exhaust manifold on the car. I'm gonna go to the shop later and tack weld on the V-band for the exhaust manifold, so that way we can kind of see where the turbo is gonna sit. You guys will see it in the next video, not necessarily this one, but excited, dude. I'm pumped. Oh, I got something else to show you. I got our turbo mocked up. Dude, that thing looks huge. Dude, it fits so nicely in there. So I just kind of wanted to see where it would sit in here, just to get an idea of things. Like I said, I can't really do any of that until I get the intake manifold, which will be here tomorrow, but at least I can get this exhaust manifold on. So I'm just gonna skip putting this thing on, and I'll show it to you guys once it's on there. It's a exhaust manifold. It's 6 bolts. I've shown you guys how to put these on before, so let me toss that guy on real quick. So I broke out the chop saw and this shit little welder. I literally bought this just to be able to tack weld stuff here, so that way I can take it to the shop. It's a flux core welder, so it needs no gas. It's just got like a shielded core on the wire. It sucks for stainless, but it'll tack it, which is literally all I was shooting for. So I got the flange tacked up to our up pipe here. So as you can see, there's our rotated up pipe. Normally your up pipe would end way the hell down there. So this one, I do need to cut it down, but I've got a bungee cord kind of holding it up. Down here, we've got our Killer Bee exhaust manifold with the V-band goodness right there going up. If I'm not happy with how this up pipe comes out, I think I'm gonna try to build one from scratch. So we'll see what happens. Like, I have all the material here to be able to build the up pipe from scratch. Like, I've got all the 2 1/4 tubing and whatnot. Someone did comment this on one of the videos and did kind of irk me a little bit. They said, hey, why do you keep trying to build your own stuff and do your own thing in this stuff versus just buying a rotated kit? I mean, there's a couple reasons for me. I find this to be more fun. Anybody can just buy parts and bolt them up, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's fun. I get it. I've been there. But for me to continue to learn and continue to grow, fabrication and learning to build my own stuff is the next step for me. Plus, I don't want to spend $5,000 on a rotated setup that's already been made when I know how much it costs to build them. The raw material cost alone is like $350, $400 maximum. I'm not paying $5K or even $4K for a rotated kit that's already been fabbed up. It's my opportunity to learn, my opportunity to grow. The aluminum, I'm not gonna do the aluminum. I can't weld aluminum or shit, so I'll pay someone else to do that. But the steel end of things, the up pipe and the down pipe, I can totally learn how to do it. It's not terribly hard. It's just a little bit of math, a little bit of cutting, a little bit of making metal stick to metal. Bada bing, bada boom, we got a rotated up pipe and down pipe, baby. So, sick. I'm excited for that. So, I'm gonna swing over to the shop later. Actually, no, like I said, I'm not gonna mess with like cutting anything else on that up pipe until I get my Process West manifold tomorrow, so that way we know where exactly we have to go for everything. So I think that's all I got for you guys on this video. Made some progress on the 04, made a lot of progress on the hatchback. The hatchback should start to be picking up more now that parts are starting to roll in and we have like all this other stuff that we needed that we've been waiting on. So sick! So if you guys like the video, you know what to do. Go ahead and hit that like button, turn it black, blue, green, yellow, purple, silver sign, whatever color it turns for you. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel and you want to see me struggle through some fabrication and some welding and some chop sawing and some cutting and some stuff, one of these corners, no idea which one I'll put it in quite yet, but with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. So peace out, homies.